Hey guys, so this is another first impressions video. This time is Fernand, and yeah, I hear you guys. I hear you. A lot of people are really upset with everything that's happening with this hero and the new Intruder boss. But there is a workaround to that, and I'm gonna explain that in the end after I speak about Nan the hero. Well, so a little later we'll talk about that. Let's talk about her first. So anyhow, Nan, if you've seen the type of damage that this hero actually does in the versus bosses, yeah, she's pretty crazy. And we're gonna talk about that in a second, but let's go for her skills. So she's a slow hero for now. Deals 288% damage to all enemies for 5 hits, nothing too crazy. Grants the character protective swords and increases 43% attack for yellow allies for 4 turns. This is the main reason you want to have her, to buff your yellow heroes. For sure, and definitely a nudge that you have to use her on a yellow team. However, protective shields are already tested. It lasts for 4 turns, so you have to take that into account. So protective shields, when allies deal skill damage, then has a 50%. Then it says 100% when yellow allies deal skill damage. So if none does damage, it's 50%, but all your other yellows are going to be guaranteed to do the actual ability there, which is dealing 80% extra damage to all enemies. So this is really interesting. If you have her +0, it's not going to do a lot of damage, but I'm going to talk about that in a second. However, here comes the gravy. They didn't even need to add this. This wasn't even necessary, but they did it anyway. Passive increases damage dealt in Tournament of Valor and Alliance Intruder by 50%. Oh my god, I don't know what the developers thought about that. Maybe they wanted to make a hero that people will want to actually use in tournament and Intruder, but yeah, that is crazy. That is pretty crazy, guys. So let's talk about her awakenings, because her awakenings are pretty spicy here. So the first one, yeah, this is the one that I was talking about, the one that is interesting for ability. Enhanced skills effect, damage dealt by sword slashes increases by 200% of the original damage. So that pretty much means, guys, that instead of 80% extra damage, she's actually going to do like 240% extra damage for every single yellow hero in your team. So yeah, guys, if you're able to +1 her, I highly recommend it, because that's a really huge boost for her. For a +1, that feels like a +3 at least. So that's really powerful +1. So the usual 10% here for the +2. The +3 effect, it decreases the mana required to cast skills by 30. So this +3 is actually a +5 for Aurelia. So Aurelia, her +5 is this. She gets 30. So you could say that that turns Nan from a slow hero maybe to an average speed hero. And average speed heroes are very more likely to go off a lot more than a slow hero, and that is very relevant because a hero that actually is competing with Nan on a yellow team slot is Callisto, and Callisto is average. So if you have her +3, this makes her 100% guaranteed to replace Callisto on your yellow team. If you have her +1, maybe, but in +3, you have to replace Callisto with her, because there's no reason why not. So the usual 10% for the +4. And this one, maybe you can actually think that this is not a big deal, but for what I've seen, this is an incredible +5. It will increase 20% additional to what she's already doing. So instead of 43, she's going to do 63. But the second one is even crazier, Because Nan has a low chance to release the sword slash when dealing normal attack damage. So normal attack damage is stone damage. So if you throw stones, that will activate her ability to do damage to everyone. So yeah, don't underestimate this +3. It is pretty crazy and may change the tide of battle if you get her to +5 for sure. So if you're thinking to +5ing her, this is a very powerful +5 for sure. And we already know that she's already crazy fighting multiple target bosses. That's pretty clear. The developers really wanted to show that off, and they succeeded in that part. However, in PvP, we have to test her out because sword does do a lot of protection. So we have to actually see how much PvP damage can we pull off with this. And even this one, we have to check all that. There's a lot of testing that we have to do. And see now, because now in Wars we can actually see the replays. But yeah. Just by seeing this, if you're just planning to summon her like normal, go for the +1, because this is going to make her a lot more relevant. If she's just +0, I don't think that you're going to be very impressed with her. Go for the +1 for sure. And so, let's talk about the weapon. Her weapon gives a 50% attack, so that's not bad, for sure. However, I have to actually test if her passive and her abilities, when they hit so many targets, are they actually activated by crit damage? If so, there's a lot of nice crit weapons for agility heroes that we can definitely test out. Can you imagine doing all those activations and all of them critting? Oh my god, that is gonna be crazy. Yeah. So that's gonna be really amazing to test. I can't wait to test that out. So there is some negative things about Nan that you have to know. Yellow has so many good heroes to actually go into the team. So I'm gonna give you some examples here. So this is my yellow team, and usually I go like this, and pretty much Midas holds the whip, and or I usually go here with this guy Reggie, and he'll also hold the bow like this, pretty much. And that's pretty much going to be my counter versus Palmera using yellow team. So if not, for PvE, or if I'm feeling like I want to do a lot of damage, I bring in Callisto. So bringing her in, who would I replace to actually hold the whip? Because Midas and her are excellent choices to actually hold the whip. So if I bring her in, she's not going to be the one that actually is holding the energy weapon. You are going to want her to go off first before anyone. So that way her ability activates. So you're going to activate her first, and then you're going to activate every single one of these heroes, and all of them are going to activate her sword's ability. So that is amazing, but you need her to go off first. She is a slow hero. So there's some decisions to be made, because this combination of yellows is amazing, because you're already getting a bunch of damage dealt to weaker enemies. Like with 4, you already have 50% additional damage to purples, pretty much. So that's gonna be something that you have to weigh in. I have spoken about this. Some people may use the energy weapon here. For this hero over here. Here Crowley, because Crowley is a fast hero. So she could be a good energy weapon holder. However, you also want her to go off, but not necessarily first. And the other option you have is Ruby here. Let's see. But Ruby, at least for me, she's +5, so I do want her to go off first. And she's going to give attack to every single hero on the team. So in my case, if I have her and I get her to +3, I'll probably replace Midas and put her here, and probably give the energy weapon to Crowley. and then pretty much activate her, and then activate everyone else, and activate stones to actually power up Crowley and go off. Because yeah, we really want her to go off first, for sure. So that is the thing. That is the bad thing about her. So you have to do sacrifices, because if not, I can use Callisto and just put the whip here. Even if she doesn't go out first, the ability to putting in the whip is really relevant, really relevant. But anyhow, that's the bad part about her, because you have to actually do some sacrifices and putting the energy weapon, or even decide to not even put the energy weapon. But you have to have her to +3 to be able to make that happen, because you need her to go off first. So that is going to be a problem for her. Sadly. I do like the hero a lot. However, for long fight for Intruder, it's not going to be a real problem, because it's going to be long fights and things like that. So let's go talk about Intruder here. Intruder, a lot of people have been complaining pretty much that the damage you have to now do 1.2 million to be able to get S rank, which is a low blow for a lot of people, because before it was 550, now it's 1.2. So yeah, a lot of people were mad about that, but there is one workaround for this. There is one workaround, guys, and that is, yeah, dragons. And you'll never know who. The actual dragon that I've least upgraded, Thunder. Because Thunder, apparently he paralyzes the little guys that Mary has around. So that'll give you time to actually hit more times. And also not get the debuff and things like that. So Thunder finally gets to be used again. The actual dragon that I pretty much never use, now I have to use him, because yeah, that's going to be really relevant. So if you're having problems getting to 1.2 million, definitely try Thunder. I've heard of some guys that just by using Thunder, they've doubled the amount of damage they actually done. Let me see, it was Star Trek here. He said that he doubled the damage, so now he's 2.3 million, so that's pretty nice. I didn't use Thunder at that time, so I just used my usual team. So I'm still using my blue team as usual, because my blue team, it's just continuously just producing stone up until the last second, and my yellow team at least doesn't produce stones up until the last second. But you can definitely go yellow, and as long as you reach to 1.2 million, you should be fine with Intruder boss. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, a lot of people have been sending messages, the developers know, so I hope that they do something naturally to make this better for you guys, for sure. So, my final thoughts, well, my final impressions for Nan here. There's a lot of testing to be done here. We already know she's amazing with bosses, amazing with multi-target bosses, amazing with PvE, multiple targets. She's going to be crazy. So for tower, she was definitely going to be used for tower, for sure. I can't imagine for tower. And everything else that's pretty much PvE in the game that has multiple targets. So, and your yellow team. For PvP, that is something we still need to test. That's going to be very fun for us to actually see that in recordings now. So for Awakenings, I definitely recommend the +1. If you want to replace, without a doubt, Callisto, go for the +3 for sure. And if you're gonna go for broke, yeah, that +5 is pretty crazy, guys. So, but definitely go for the +1. If you're just summoning for whatever, +1 will make her relevant, and definitely a hero you can actually use. All right, thank you very much for watching, guys. Have a great day. Bye bye.